Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 17 of What If Naruto Was Abandoned and Awaken a Kekkei Genkai. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Otsutsuki clan over in Anime King 3. And also over on Anime King, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a part of a Legendary 7, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly, I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last part we left off as Naruto was bringing Yujito back towards her village. As she asked him about what happened earlier, considering that he wasn't saying anything about it. As he told her that at the moment he doesn't feel that way. She instantly went depressed as she couldn't believe it. She always had a suspicion that why would he go for her, after all he had Natsuma and Hana. So she lowered her head in contempt. But Naruto told her he wasn't finished yet. At the moment, he was thinking about other things. The upcoming invasion. But once he was all over, they could explore that field. As she cursed herself for jumping to conclusions, but a feeling of warm relief washed over her as he brought her back to the village. As he called Akiko, she came there, but a few of the Raikage envoy came there. As Naruto gave Yujito towards Akiko, she brought her back. As he slipped the kunai in her pocket to give it to Yujito when she woke up. The Raikage told his envoys to deal with Naruto because of how disrespectful he was being. But the moment he turned, his envoys were on the ground, groaning in pain as the Raikage was shocked. As Naruto made a deal with the man regarding Yujito's status in his village. And seeing his strength and overall power at being able to take care of his 5 elite envoys within seconds, the Raikage was gushing at having that power inside his village, so he agreed with Naruto. The time then returned back to the present time, as it was time for chunin exams to begin. As Naruto had informed the Sand siblings about their father, as he had found the corpse in the desert, Orochimaru was their father under disguise, as the Sand siblings were angry. But they were going to wait and take their anger out on the Sound Shinobis and Orochimaru. As Naruto informed Baki about what was going on, as he got the message. So with that, the chunin exam started up. As they went through the fights, until Natsuma was called, as she made her way down there to face off against Neji. Natsuma found everything rather amusing, as she stretched her limbs ready to embark on this battle, as both she and Neji start the battle. With his Byakugan, Neji thought that he had the upper hand. He even hit her with his 64 palms. He then hit her with 128 palms. But to his shock, she shrugged them off, reopening her points like it was absolutely nothing. He was surprised. He couldn't believe what was going on. Her power was extraordinary, immense, as she was quickly able to put him down when she actually tried. As it showed that she wasn't even trying from the beginning. As Naruto made his way down there with Yujito, as he told her he had a surprise for her, something that she wanted more than anything else. But if she did not fight him fairly, he wouldn't give it to her. As she attacked him, coming in with her full force. She even had a control over shadows, just like Naruto, but it was quite powerful as well. Mixed with her lightning, she was a deadly person when she combined the 2 elements. As Naruto realized, well, he was the one that told her to go all out. Well, he was having fun, as he was starting to enjoy the match. So yeah guys, it was basically as we left off. You guys can Switch across the play check for yourself. So this will be in this new episode. Lightning and darkness style. Lightning shadow. Yujito said. Her voice strained a bit from the gravity jutsu that was also affecting her. The lightning bolt from the sky and the black lightning from the earth strike Naruto at the same time. As Naruto gritted his teeth, damn, I didn't think I had to use it so early, he said, as seals appear in his arm. As a rift in dimension appeared right in front of him. Summoning, he said. As a blue hilt started to emerge as he grabbed the blade. As he ran his finger down the blade, as his blood went over it. Release, Azure Breeze, he said. As a gust of wind exploded from the blade. In place of the metal blade was now a blue, glowing blade that looked like the Rasengan, that was extended like a katana blade. Legendary blades like Naruto's were known by many people, as he called out the name Fujikaze. It was said that it was crafted by the fur of the Kyuubi itself. So for Naruto, a mere genin, to proclaim that he had it in his hand was something hard for many of them to swallow. As Naruto then swung it upwards toward the sky, the blade extended up into the heavens, looking like a tornado going up. As it dissipated all the storm clouds that Yujito had called forth. Yujito blinked in shock. He was able to stop my jutsu with a literal swing of his sword. Gasp spread across the audience as they watched that. Many of the shinobis were at awe, seeing such power. Some of them, though, were in fear, seeing the boy getting so strong. There was a good strategy, Yujito-chan, said Naruto. Lucky for me I had my blade, he said, as he made it poof out of existence. Damn him, she said. He seems to have the answer to everything I threw at him. Although a part of her was happy that he stopped her jutsu, as she didn't want to cause him so much pain. As Naruto went through hand sign, earth column, he said. Hundreds of earth columns rose up, raising the both of them, at least 2 stories up in the air. So you finally remember the jutsu weakness, huh? She said, as he was able to overcome the gravity jutsu by raising them, as she grunted a bit. Well, that's not exactly what I did, said Naruto, as he went through hand sign once more. Ninja art. Hidden mist technique, he said. A burst of mist erupted from his body that enveloped all the top pillars, so the audience could not see. The crowd booed in disapproval as they could not see what was going on. He cannot possibly think that this is gonna help him. Yujito thought as she looked around. With the Nimbus chakra she could see, past the mist. What did he think that this was gonna do against her? She located him quickly enough, but she saw him with that 3-pronged kunai, and he was already going through hand sign. Ninja art, shadow kunai technique, as he threw the kunai towards her. She jumped up in the air as she released a bombardment of her own kunai where he stood. But then she saw the yellow flash. As she felt something as she turned. As her 3-pronged kunai was already coming towards her, she saw Naruto with a grin on his face. She flipped as she landed as that kunai burst into several different kunais. The shadow kunai jutsu, as he stabbed into several columns around her. In a flash, she was knocked back by a powerful fist to the face. She was then kicked straight down, before she was launched back up in the air, as she was knocked back down towards the ground. The crowd was getting antsy, as she was being knocked around in the mist. The crowd could not see a damn thing. Yujito finally landed, as she winced in pain. Concede please, said Naruto. No, I want you to show me what you promised me you would, she said. And the only way to do that is to beat you. Very well. As she was once again thrown by a punch to the stomach, she crashed to one of the pillars. I have to win. Nibe, please, she said. As the two-tailed cat conceded to her friend. Take it, kitten. Take it and kick his sexy ass, said Nibe, as she released her chakra. Naruto and the crowd felt the increase of chakra in the mist. Lightning style. Dark voltage. A dark storm cloud, much like earlier, started to hover above them. The moment as it came, though, a massive lightning bolt erupted from it as it shot right down inside the mist. As Naruto had to flash away from Yujito, as the lightning struck her. It did not hurt her though, as it started to cackle around her body. As Naruto narrowed his eyes towards the lightning taking around her. It's just like Raika. Lightning armor. Yujito turned towards him. Despite her body being thrust by him a moment ago, she smirked. Katsu, she said. As Naruto's eyes narrowed, his eyes went wide when she released all the lightning from her body. That was now amplified by the fog. The crowd was wondering what was going on in there. Then they start to hear a buzzing sound. The lightning light everything up like a Christmas tree, as they saw something being thrown right out of the fog and crash into the wall. Damn, that hurt, said Naruto. As he pulled himself out of the wall, electricity still flowing across his body and shocking him. He cancelled his jutsu, seeing that it was just no liability to him, as he jumped towards the nearest rock pillar. As Naruto saw Yujito now in her new form, Raikage-dano, I believe. The elemental nation state abide by the rules that if a country wish to have his or her Jinchuriki participate in the chunin exams, the other participant country should be alerted, said Sarutobi as he looked towards the girl, as Yujito had dark, purple chakra surrounding her body, 2 pointed ears on top of her head, and 2 tails. Yes, I believe that is correct, Hokage-dano, but I do not recall you advertising your own either. Besides, I gave you your warning at the beginning of this match. I told you that no one can be my shinobi but you allow him to go on. Naruto-kun is a known Jinchuriki, so I had no reason to announce it. Well, I suppose so. Very well, I will concede to your point. I will make a formal apology once the exam is over. Very well, said Sarutobi. As Naruto looked towards Yujito, well, she was going to the extreme levels. But she knew what he had for her, and she wanted to see her mother again. So, he knew that she wouldn't hold back against him. And he had to say this has been rather exciting. She extended her arms outwards as 2 balls of purple chakra started to form in her palms, as Naruto felt the amount of power that she was putting in them. It seems like she was taking it a bit too far now. Darkness style, supreme ghost of the sacred flame, Yujito growled out, as the 2 ball of chakra was now slightly smaller than Kasumi, giant Rasengan in the match, but it had more chakra packed into it. I guess I reap what I sow, said Naruto, as he held out his hand, as a Rasengan formed in his palm. What is he doing? He doesn't actually think a normal Rasengan will be able to stand up something like that, does he? Said Katsumi. If he does, then he's a fool. Well, if he gets kills, it is good riddance, said Kushina. As Kushina was watching the match intently, and she did not notice a word expression on her daughter's face. Danzo had a curious eye on the boy. He was surely not stupid enough to use that small attack against those 2 balls that would turn him into dust. Well, let's see what you're truly capable of now, Danzo thought. Everyone then noticed the Rasengan, it was fluctuating, like something was trying to break out of it. It then broke. All the chakra inside started to rush up his arm, encasing his arm in chakra. The audience gasped as they saw it stop at his shoulder. It was just fluctuating around his right arm. Not even Jiraiya the Sannin can manipulate something like that, and yet this boy was manipulating Rasengan to that degree. It seems incredible. He's surely something else, isn't he? Jiraiya said, from his VIP box in stance. He certainly is, said Tsunade, a ghost of a smile on her lips. She felt pride and guilt. She felt pride and also guilt at the same time. Guilt because she knew that she had no reason to be proud of him. After all, she didn't do anything to help him. So he's finally gonna use one of them, said Natsume. The Saiyan siblings looked towards her. Oh, you see, Naruto-kun has already created 3 original jutsus from the Rasengan, and he's currently working on a 4th. Not even I was able to see them while he was working on them, but I was able to grab a peek at the very one that he's using now. But he hadn't fully mastered it when I saw it, so I'm not sure what is the full capability of it. As Naruto spoke up, this next attack will end the Uchiha-chan, so make sure it counts, he said. She only nodded in response, as she started to finalize her jutsu. As Naruto's free hand went behind his back and pulled out a normal kunai, as he threw it up in the air, as Yujito watched it fall. As she knew what it meant. It hit the ground, and the both of them launched forward, as the both of them slammed their techniques into each other. A violent output of chakra was released, as they fought for dominance. The crowd had to block their face as the wind was picking up violently, as they were shocked. Could Genin really be this powerful? As the 2 attacks seemed to be enveloping on each other. As everyone knew what was going to happen, it then went off. A surge of explosion. A massive mushroom went up in the sky. As everyone was shocked at the massive explosion that took place, wiping out all the pillars. When the smoke finally died down, they saw her, Yujito was embedded in the wall. The cloak around her now gone, and there was a massive hole in the wall, and Naruto was nowhere to be seen. He had went right through it. As the arena was a mess, the trees were blown away, destroyed, the ground was uprooted. Crack. As Genma flashed back in the arena, as he saw the girl groaning, but she seemed like she could not get up. But yet, to Genma's surprise, the girl pulled herself up. She was holding on to her stomach. As she made her small walk, right towards the center of the arena, Genma was surprised despite the state that she was in, that she was still walking. Now that she was in the center right beside Genma, everyone turned their eyes towards the hole. After a good half a minute, there was nothing. Either he was dead or either he was unconscious. As Genma decided to call the match, winner of the match is... Hey! As Naruto appeared in a stunned Shin. Sorry about that. The owner of the house I just wrecked got all in my business about demons and all that, said Naruto. He had actually been blasted through the wall and slammed into a house outside. And he had to start out the business. Naruto-kun? Said Yujito. As Naruto was confused by her look, the audience looked at him that way as well. He looked down towards his right arm that once held his technique. As it was black and charred, guilt fell on Yujito. I did that to him, she thought herself. Oh, that, said Naruto, as he poked his burnt arm, as a few of the flake skin fell off. I suppose normally, this would have hurt a lot more. But after the things I went through in this village, it doesn't even compare, said Naruto, his voice growing rather cold. Besides, it's an easy fix. As he reached his other hand up towards his chest, and placed over his chest, his entire body started to glow green. Many of the people there, especially the medics, looked towards him as he saw the green aura flood his body. The cuts and bruises vanished in seconds. Although he looked fine, the arm was still burned badly, as many wondered if he lost the ability to use the arm. He then flexed his arm as all of the charred skin fell off, revealing a completely fine arm underneath. Not even a cut or a blemish, a burn, nothing at all. As he tested the arm and punched a few times, he formed a small Rasengan. He then dismissed it. I'm ready to continue, said Naruto. Although, I wish you will reconsider and give up, he said. I can feel like you're on your last legs, and I still have a buttload of chocolate despair, not to sound cocky or anything, said Naruto. You can't win anymore, he said to her. Sorry, Naruto-kun, she said, but I must win to see her. He sighed at her foolishness. Well, he would have done the same if he was in her position as well. He appeared in front of her in a flash, as he buried a fist into her stomach. Her eyes widened as she collapsed into his arms, unconscious, as he picked her bridal style. As Genma checked on her, winner! Naruto was Makina Mikaze, he said, as she was out cold, as Naruto disappeared in a purple flame with her. Everyone was silent, shocked even, as they did not believe what they just saw in the match. They couldn't believe it. The demon was that powerful, and they couldn't believe that Jennings could do this. The arena was a mess. Everyone was knocked out of their musings when clapping was heard on the far side of the stands, as they looked to see the Hokage and Kazekage clapping, showing their appreciation for such a match. As the audience then followed, although it was shown that the cheering was coming from non-Konoha people, they just clapped along to not look foolish. After all, the Hokage was clapping. Danzo was smiling to himself. That boy would be the greatest addition to his army. He would be the roots that would allow Konoha to flourish. As he went back into the shadows from whence he came, that was the only reason why he was there, to see Naruto fight. That was quite the match, Hokage-dono, Raikage-dono. I feel quite jealous you have such strong shinobis, the Kazekage joked, as Orochimaru chuckled under his veil to himself. Naruto made a good addition to his army after all. These people in Konoha are treating him like a monster. It's just needing a bit of compelling to bring him over to his side. The Raikage held back his grumble. It was quite the match indeed, he said. But where's my shinobi, he asked. I'm not sure. I'll send some envoys to find him and return her back to you, said Sarutobi. He had no idea why Naruto took her, truthfully. Sarutobi looked toward the audience as he saw all the fearful look on his civilians' faces. It truly was a shame that they weren't nicer to you. Or perhaps you might have been on their side. Where did Naruto go? Asked Temari, as she looked around. I just spoke to him. He said he was bringing Yujito back to the mansion to introduce her to her lost long mom. So for now, let's just enjoy the last few matches before the invasion begins, Natsumi said in a rather bored tone. As everything else seemed pointless now, the other matches weren't going to entertain her. Meanwhile, at Namikaze mansion, bursts of purple flames appeared as they disappeared to show Naruto and Yujito. He walked up and deactivated the mansion security before moving inside as he cancelled his genjutsu, showing his true form without his tails. As he made his way inside with her in his arm, he reached the couch as he gently placed her down. Naruto-san, is that you? A woman's voice called out from the kitchen. A form of a woman in her 40s came into view. She had long black hair that went a bit past her shoulders and chocolate brown eyes that were warm and caring. She was quite attractive, in all honesty. Naruto was not expecting Yujito's mom to look so youthful. She was wearing a green skirt and a blue shirt and a pink apron. The woman then gasped. Is that her? As Naruto nodded, he stopped her. Why don't you go make us some tea? By the time you return, she'll be recovered to reunite with you, said Naruto. The woman, known as Alina, looked conflicted, but she saw Naruto giving her a reassuring smile, so she nodded. Despite over a decade and a half of separation, the woman still loved their adopted daughter no matter what. As Naruto placed his hand on Yujito's forehead and stomach, as a purple glow enveloped her body. After a minute or two, it vanished. There wasn't even a scar on her skin. Her clothing was still torn, but she was back in full condition. Elena then came back with the tea. Good timing, said Naruto. Do you think she recognized me after so long? Elena asked. Oh, you don't have to worry about that, said Naruto. She will definitely recognize you. As Yujito groaned, her eyes started to slowly open. Welcome back, Yujito-chan, said Naruto. Naruto-kun. As she looked around at the ceiling, where am I, she asked. You're at my home in Konoha. I brought you here so I could get you proper healing. I won the match, by the way, he said, that chuckle. I see, she said. So you won't let me see mom, won't you? Oh, I don't know, said Naruto. Why don't you ask her yourself? Hiswaheim. Yujito froze. That name. It meant Jade Princess. There was only one person that called her that. Her face slowly turned towards Alina. She wondered if this was a dream, or a figment of her imagination. Mom, she said. As Yujito got up, so did her mother, as they moved towards each other. Mom, she repeated, as her shaking hands came up and touched woman's face, to make sure that she was truly real. Yes, it's me. I'm finally back. As she held on to her arms, as Naruto smiled, he felt happy that he was able to keep his word to Yujito. Both women's eyes started to water before they enveloped each other in a bone-crushing embrace as he let them have their moment. As he found Yujito after a while, curled up as her mother patted her head, as she was still crying a bit. He wished he could let them stay like that for as long as they wished. Unfortunately though, an army of sound ninjas were coming, and they weren't going to give anyone the time to live out their best fantasy. What he said, no love for the guy who found her. Yujito got up. He said in a rather joking tone. She crashed right into him with a bone-crushing hug. As he fell down towards the ground, she did not hesitate as she locked her lips with his. A powerful, intense make-out session that surprised him. But he was not one to be upstaged. Her lips expressed the gratitude, the thanks, everything, as they finally broke apart. Thank you so much, Naruto-kun, she said. I can't begin to tell you how happy I am. Thank you so much. Tears in her eyes. No problem, said Naruto. Although I was just joking, I must say, I certainly enjoyed the reward. So if there's someone else you want me to find, just let me know, he said. They heard a cough. The both of them froze. Yujito had got caught up in the moment as they slowly turned. While I don't mind you thanking him, especially, I can see that he's someone that you trust. But not after 10 minutes of us just reunited. And also, right in front of me, I have to act as both her father and mother, you know? So don't think I won't give you the talk, she said, as she was looking directly towards Naruto. Yujito's eyes widened. It was just an impulsive act. Now she was fully taking in the gravitational feel of what she did. With a yeep, she leaped away from Naruto, on the opposite seat farthest away from him. Sorry, Elena-san, said Naruto. I think that she was just happy that I brought you back. and got a bit too excited, but I'm sure she wanted an explanation of what is going on as well. Yes, said Yujito, finally regaining her bearings. Well, basically, after I told you that I'll help you to find Elena-san, and you went back to Kumo, I began my search. Unfortunately, for the first 3 weeks, I couldn't find much, only tidbits from Kumo Shinobi, but nothing really solid about her. Not only that, but there were other situations that also called for my attention, one of them being you and that group that Itachi Uchiha was with. Fortunately though, on the final week, I was able to find someone who knew the location where she was being held at, and I was able to convince him to tell me everything. But the problem was the location was near to Fire Country, back to Konoha. Apparently, the Kumo ninjas found one of Orochimaru, old laboratory, and used to keep her hostage. That is why you couldn't find a trail of her in Kumo. She was never there to begin with, so digging for clues would be impossible, unless you knew where to look. Hell, it was pure luck I even found a Jonin, while I was on my way to Kumo. So I then made my way there. I took care of the shinobi, and rescued her, and destroyed the lab. I understand that, but why didn't you tell me that you found her, said Yujito, as she was a bit angry. Sorry about that, but I had a few reasons for that, he said. The main one being the time I found laboratory. It was the day before the exams, so you were already on your way to Konoha anyway. Therefore it would have been safer if I kept her in my home for the day. Another reason, if I had told you about her too soon, you'd have done something rash, and that would have angered the Raikage, and not to mention with Orochimaru army right outside waiting. It will be rather problematic now, if you had done something rash. The third reason is, you'd have wanted to come here right away, and the Raikage would have took that as your treason. And given Konoha shinobis, well, especially the council, they wouldn't want any problem with him, and they would have demanded that you be handed over right away, along with your mother. So I need to keep you clueless until the last moment, said Naruto. And I guess the last reason is me being a bit too selfish. I wanted to see how strong you are, and I know that you would have pulled your punches if I didn't have an incentive to let you fight me for real, said Naruto. And for that I apologize. I'm really sorry, he said. She understood his reason for why, but she was still angry that he didn't tell her right away. After all, this is what she wanted for so long. She was about to say something before mother spoke up. It's alright, his right hand. Forgive him, she said. She's right. Other than the last reason, he did all of that for your happiness and your mother's protection, Nibi told her. If anyone is selfish here, she said, it's me. Given everything you've done for me so far, and not to mention you were right. If this wasn't in the deal, I wouldn't have fight you for real. I just couldn't bring myself to actually fight you there, to bring you real harm. And after everything you did, everything you risked for me, I'm the one being selfish, she said. So thank you, she said. Thank you once again, as Naruto smiled in happiness. Suddenly, the entire house rocked as a massive explosion came from a chunin stadium. Guess the invasion has started, said Naruto. This is between Konoha and the town, so I'd like the both of you to stay here until this is finished, so you don't get involved, especially with the Raikage still out there, and probably looking for you by now. But I can help, said Yujito. I know you can, said Naruto, but all I did is heal your wounds. Your body is still in fatigue, and also the lack of chakra. If you go now and one of the strong shinobis were to attack you, I would never forgive myself if anything bad happened. Not to mention, the Raikage must be angry by now, and I would be worried about you too much to keep myself focused on the fight. Please just stay here and keep your mom safe. Hell, you can even release Nibi here to stretch her legs for a bit. They're still set up so no one will notice. Okay, fine, she said. I might not like it because I want to help you, but I will, she said. Thank you, he said. Make yourself at home. When I return, the invasion will be over. There was a poof as Nibi was released. Alright, you three. Stay safe, said Naruto. Yes, Naruto-kun. Now get your sexy ass out there and help Natsu-chan, said Nibi, as Naruto smiled at that as he vanished in purple flames. As Elena looked towards Nibi, should I even ask, she said, seeing her extra features. She's my perverted demoness, Mom. Yujito said, shaking her head. That's weird, said Nibi. What is, asked Yujito. You call me perverted yet? If the go-ahead was on the table, you would jump his bone for the entire night. Yujito became so red, it was almost like she was in a burst. My. It seems you have truly grown, haven't you? Her mother said, as Yujito quickly hid her face in shame, as Nibi simply laughed. Moments earlier, Sasuke Uchiha, this match is now over. If you care to look around, you will notice that most of the audience have gone silent. Sasuke was in the ring with Gaara, and he was right as he looked around. What the hell is going on? The Sound is currently starting an invasion with Konoha, and they've used our match as catalyst to start it. And how exactly do you know about that, asked Sasuke? That is simple. Up until a few hours ago, the Sun was planning on helping the Sound with the invasion. However, evidence have come to light that made us transfer our allegiance back to Konoha. Well, I don't have the facts or the authority to dispute your claim, but if you are lying, I'll come after you, said Sasuke. That is none of my concern at the moment, said Gaara. So I think we should make haste with dealing with the Sound Shinobis at the moment. Sasuke turned his head. Well, at least he could still actually fight. Meanwhile, in the stands, Yush! It seems that Naruto information about the invasion was accurate, said Guy as he slammed a Sound Shinobi in the wall as he was speaking to Kakashi, who flipped over and took out 2 Sound Shinobis of his own. Kakashi did not reply to Guy's words as he thought about his last conversation with Naruto. As he saw Sasuke flashed up there, Sasuke, he said, I have a mission for you. Huh? What's that, said Sasuke. Go and release all the genis from the genjutsu that he got caught up in, and you and them escort the villagers to a safe house in the village, understood? But what after this mission is over? Then defend Konoha, said Kakashi. Just the answer I want to hear, he said. Meanwhile, in the box, what do you think, Natsumai-san? Haku said. Well, Hana has her own job of being a chunin of this village, but I will not be helping them evacuate. And you are traveling with I am Naruto-kun. You have your own free will, so if you want to help them, you can. I understand, said Haku. What about us, said Kankuro. What about you, she said. Your alliance with Konoha still stands because of the evidence that we found. So join the fray and help out. What about you, Natsumai-san? Asked Temari. Oh, me? As a smirk came across her lips. A wicked, cruel smirk. I'm gonna have some fun before Naruto can get here and we take care for tomorrow. As she vanished in red flames. Meanwhile, with Hana and Haku. Alright everyone, try to stay calm and follow us. We will lead you to the closest safe house, said Hana. As Haku would gather any struggles that Sasuke did not get. A little over 24 civilians nodded Hana's request. Hana was in the front leading and Haku went back to make sure there wasn't any ambush against them. As they moved through the street, trying to get through without any attack from the invaders. Unfortunately, as they crossed one of the larger streets in the market district, their luck ran out. Well, what do we have here, boys? As the Sound Shinobi stood in front of the alleyway that they were gonna take. Seems we found some stragglers, Teiko. As Hana looked up, as she saw them jump down, around 20 of them. Seems so. Or we can call this the spoils of war. Well, the woman anyway, as the man had a sick smirk on his face. Hana pulled her kunai. You won't lay a hand on them while I'm here, she said. So we have a volunteer. Boys, leave this one alive. She's a feisty one. I like her. We don't have time for your games. As Haku threw the canister that she had in her hand, as the water inside released in the air. Ice release. Death by 1,000 flying water needles. As the needles came down, forcing the enemies to move back or be skewered. As Hana gathered all the civilians and made their way through the alley. As Hana glanced back as she was worried about Haku. 20 against 1 was not a good thing. As she looked towards the civilians, she felt a sigh of relief when Haku jumped down to the alleyway. Sorry, I was only able to incapacitate 6 of them. The rest of them regained their composure. They're after us. It's about a 30-second lead. Don't apologize. You only had a limited amount of water, and you did well. Hana looked back as she saw the Sound Shinobis running after them. As she tried to think of a way out of a seamlessly hopeless situation. To make matters worse, the civilians at the front made a wrong move. And she was behind them, protecting them. And they end up at a dead end. And the Shinobis were making their way right after them. Found you. As the captain finally arrived with his few men behind him. Any ideas? Hana asked. Yes, but it will only buy us time and nothing more. Well, we need time, Hana said. As she pulled another canister from behind her and soaked the ground with it. Hey, stop her! Those ice jutsus were a real bitch. As they moved forward. Ice release. Ice prison technique. A large wall of thick ice jutted from the ground. It grew and curved as it smashed into the building, giving them protection. as Hana was surprised. If Haku could create something like that with only that amount of water, whoa, imagine what she could do with the entire league. The shinobi started to attack it with fire style jutsu, but it wasn't an easy melt until they started to combine their forces. As they started to hit it with all type of jutsu until it started to crack. Our time is run out, Haku said. Hana cursed she didn't have the time to carry all these people up. As the men released a massive fireball, the stream pouring from their mouth, it started to crack and break the ice until it finally exploded. The giant fireball still roared towards the people as Hana and Haku stepped in front of it, the both of them staring down the massive inferno until something flashed past them. The fireball was severed as it was dissipated. The captain looked down. "And who the hell are you?" he said. "Naruto-kun," Hana said. "Hana-chan, Haku-chan," said Naruto. "Seems I just made it, huh?" As he looked back towards the people that they were bringing to safety. "I'll cover you," he said. "Naruto-kun, the building. We can't get through without jeopardizing the safety of these people." "Understood," said Naruto, as he gripped his blade. "Crimson ash," he said, as he pointed towards the building. As the ash flew out from the blade, it was like molten lava as it melted right through the building. A giant hole that instantly cooled. "Now get them to safety," said Naruto, as he watched as more stone shinobis roll in. As he moved forward, the captain leaped towards him. The man fell, but without his head. As Naruto weaved through the army, none of them stood a chance. His hot blade cleaving through them like they were butter. One after another, they were cut down. As Hana made the people go through the hole one after another as she watched the amazing display behind her, they didn't stand a chance. As Hana looked towards Naruto, "Be careful," she said. As Naruto gave her a smile. "I'll be fine," he said. Meanwhile, in the arena, it was nothing but chaos. Blood was splattered everywhere. The arena was torn up to pieces. As Kakashi looked down towards the woman that was down there, causing nothing but chaos and destruction. As Natsume was having the time of her life. "This is so fun," she said. She gutted another stone shinobi with her hands, as she literally ripped him apart from the inside. She then looked around. As she pouted, there was no more of them. All around her was bodies, arms, legs, heads, organs. It was like a bloodbath. I can't have any real fun, can I?" she said to herself. She felt something flash behind her. She brought her elbow around, but it was stopped easily by a hand. As the person twisted her hand behind her. "Oh, you're a strong one," she said. It seems that way," the person whispered in her ear. "You know, in this position, I could take advantage of you, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it." "Oh, you believe so?" she said. "Well, why don't you go ahead then and do so?" As the person behind her chuckled, until a few unwanted guests arrived. Kakashi and the others, seeing the woman that was helping them got whole, landed rather quickly, as they didn't know who this new person was. As Naruto had his tails released, and his ears were pointed. After all, he was in his adult form, as he sighed in annoyance and turned around. Many of them blinked. Why does this guy look like Hana's boyfriend? They saw the resemblance, except this person had tails and ears. "I suggest you leave her alone. And besides, demons like you are unwelcome here," said Kakashi, as he looked towards whatever this thing was in front of him. It was a man, yet he had those demonic ears and tails. "You know, Kakashi, you interrupt my playful mood with my mate," he said. "Always breaking my mood, just like the villagers, ever since I was born here. You will forgive me, but I would have recognized you if you were born here," said Kakashi. "Well, I don't wish to explain anything to you, nor do I wish to forgive you since you threw your chance when you ordered me to let Sasuke copy my move." Kakashi narrowed his eyes in confusion. The only person that knew about that was a 12-year-old Naruto. "Who exactly are you?" said Kakashi. There was a poof, as a 12-year-old Naruto then stood there. I don't understand," said Kunai, as she looked towards Naruto was standing there. "It's simple," said Naruto. "This is not the real me. That is my original form. But there were things I had to do in this village, and my real form will draw too much attention to itself, so I had to resort to using a kid form. And no, I won't answer any questions on what happened to me. They realized that he wasn't going to answer that question. Are you a threat to this village, said Kakashi. As he narrowed his eyes, he had to ask that. As his Sharingan looked towards a woman and Naruto, there was a strange chakra cord connecting both of them. It was coming from his seal. As Naruto released the Genjutsu and returned to his real form. Relax, Kakashi. If I really want this village to be destroyed, it would already be in shambles. Besides, I am the one who told the Hokage about Orochimaru invasion in the first place, remember? Why would I even tell him if I want this place to be destroyed? Naruto said like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Kakashi conceded as he narrowed his eyes towards Natsume. Well, she looked exactly like her, but just a bit older. Is that a Genjutsu as well, like before? Natsume dropped the rest of her Genjutsu, as her ears became pointy, as her tails came out. Any more questions? Natsume asked. Does Hana know? Kurenai asked. There was concern in her tone and also a bit of anger. What if Naruto was just playing with her friend? Yes. She and her mom was the second pair of people I told when I returned. They know about my relationship with Natsu-chan here as well. So there's nothing for you to worry about, said Naruto. Lucky bastards. A few of the men thought. After all, as they looked towards a woman over there and not to mention, Hana was okay with it. Is she a Jinchuriki as well? Guy asked. No, although she is like me. The fact that her life hasn't been the best, and that she has been betrayed, just like I have, said Naruto. Amongst other things. That is one of the reasons why we're together. Kakashi spoke up. I find it ironically funny, and also disgusting, that you are sleeping with the enemy that destroyed the village. The very enemy that destroyed your life in this village, which your father sacrificed his life for, that made your mom and the rest of your clan despise you, and made your life live in hell in this village. Isn't that right, Kyuubi? Said Kakashi. The Jonins were shocked upon hearing that. You weren't hailed as a genius or nothing, Kakashi, said Natsume. As she narrowed her eyes towards the man, as he was looking at her with the Sharingan. Before you doing things stupid that might get you severely hurt, I suggest you talk to your Hokage. He already knows about this. And not to mention, if it was up to me, I wouldn't come back here to help you people. But there are certain people in this village that Naruto actually cares about. So I suggest you just continue to work on defending your village. And stop trying to get yourself involved with things that doesn't involve you, she said. As Naruto noticed Kakashi gripping his kunai a bit tighter. So far, we haven't provoked anybody. But I assure you, raise your weapon towards her, and you won't like it, said Naruto. I'm not that same child years ago that has to take the crap from you people anymore. Guy walked up to Kakashi. They are right, Kakashi, so far. They have done nothing but help us. In this invasion, they have shown that they're not unyouthful people. Let's leave them be. They're helping us defend the village. Very well. Let's move out to Kakashi. As the village was still undergoing heavy fire, as they flashed away in the sunshine, Kakashi stayed a bit longer, as he narrowed his eyes towards Natsume and Naruto before flashing away. They love you, said Naruto, his tone full of sarcasm, as Natsume snorted. Yeah, it's just a big happy welcome, she said, her tone also sarcastic, as she looked towards the purple barrier. What should we do about that, she said. I have an idea, but I'll need you back in the seal to make sure it works, said Naruto. She stepped in front of him and gave him a kiss as she went back in the seal. As Naruto sealed away the body, he grabbed one of the dead stone shinobis as he made his way. Meanwhile, the Anvus had to watch as Orochimaru and their Hokage fought in the barrier. Teiko, what can we do? Nothing. As the captain was angry. There was a dead Anvu lying there at the barrier, had incinerated the man. For being the personal bodyguard for the Hokage, giving up like this is rather pathetic, said the voice. All of them spin around. Who are you, demon? The captain said. As Naruto's eyebrow twitched, he was getting slightly irritated at being asked a question. Call me what you want, but it doesn't matter, especially know that I'm gonna go in there and give some backup to the old man. If you try to get inside forcefully, you'll be burned alive. Besides, how can we know that you're here to help? Without identifying yourself, demons have never been known to help humans, especially not Kitsune demons, and especially not in Konoha. As far as my loyalties go, as you can see, I'm wearing the Konoha headband, and I've certainly helped out a lot by aiding a few of these stone shinobis And this one right here, he said as he held up the corpse. And besides, if I was really here to cause chaos and havoc, why the hell would I be talking to you, Naruto? As they were annoying him, he threw the corpse up in the air as he launched himself up. As Naruto used it as a springboard and launched himself right over the barrier. As he saw it, the entire thing, everyone get into formation Alpha in case his barrier go down. We cannot let Orochimaru escape. As all of them form into line, good luck whoever the hell you are, the captain said as he saw Naruto plunging down right towards the barrier, his arm encased in a swirl of chakra. The captain's eyes went wide and realized that jutsu. It was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Had the Kyuubi taken over? And was trying to take out the strongest of them first, that being the Hokage. That jutsu was the one that was just used 30 minutes ago. As Naruto brought down his technique, swirling fist of the immortal king. As Naruto saw Orochimaru raising up coffins out of the ground. As Naruto remembered the description of that jutsu from his friend. Damn, he's already using Edo Tensei. Inside the barrier, I have to stop this one, Hiruzen said as he launched shurikens that multiplied and went towards the third coffin that was almost out. But Naruto broke right down into the center, deflecting all of Hiruzen's shurikens. Orochimaru blinked in confusion as he saw someone who was able to bypass his most powerful barrier jutsu. Naruto, Hiruzen recognized. Why did you stop me from making him recover that Edo Tensei? Do you know what you have just done? Yes, said Naruto. And I want to have a little chat. You are certainly one interesting person, Orochimaru said. But I'm afraid I don't know who you are. But you were able to get past my barrier. I commend you for that. And not to mention stopping the Hokage's attack. I didn't stop it for you, said Naruto. I did it, so I can have a few words with my dad. Orochimaru blinked. Dad? The fourth Hokage was inside that coffin. He looked back towards him, and the five tails. Impossible, said Orochimaru. But guys, to be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part, then do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was One of the Legendary 7 over in Anime King. And also over in Anime King 3, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Asusuke clan. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy, guys. And also, remember, if you're new in this first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking about all of you. But for now, see you guys soon. Peace out.